Welcome to Talking Business. I'm your host, Darcey Edwards with Queen Bee Leadership Training. Talking Business is just that. We are talking business with business leaders, leaders in the community, and those who change their communities with entrepreneurship. This podcast is presented by Xpose Hope as a thank you to the business community. Catch us on all the platforms. Find us, follow us, and review us. Hello, welcome to Talking Business. I'm your host, Darcey Edwards, and on today's show, one of my very favorite lawyers in the Hillsboro area, Mr. Nathan Sosa, is here with us today. Thank you for taking time. I know it's crazy busy in the legal field right now. Why don't you share with our listeners kind of what law you practice so that they can most people just think, oh, lawyer, or they just do everything. And that's really not true.
Yeah, absolutely. I do a number of different types of law. Over the course of my career, I've helped small businesses. I've helped folks with criminal defense matters. And then currently, I help folks navigate the insurance process, whether that's an injury claim, a property claim, or a coverage claim.
Excellent. He's my lawyer. I've worked with him before and refer people to you all the time. The way you got into the law world, and I'm going to say this as a disclaimer, I have a special place in my heart for lawyers because they have actually helped me through a myriad of different things in my life, with the adoption of my kids and, a car accident, spa accidents, things that happen in the world. And so, you know what? The misnomer of how lawyers are needs to be broken today, because we have a really good one here that has served his community for a very long time. And so why don't you tell us how, you work for a firm, but that is a business.
Yes. And
how you have navigated that as your own, like you said, book of business that you have. How do you navigate that in this world today? I know you were sharing how the court system's a little bit backed up.
Sure.
Because of a little problem we had. So if you can explain how that process would look, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, so a law firm, just like any other business, is there to serve the community. And so how I do that is I go out into the community. I interact with folks. I serve on a variety of volunteer boards and committees. And I'm always out there talking to folks just to see if they have a problem, if it's something that I can help them with. And if I can, wonderful. If I can't, then I'm happy to refer them to other attorneys who specialize in other areas that I don't practice.
Excellent. And then I wanted to touch on, you were not born necessarily with a silver spoon. You have an incredible work ethic. And can you kind of share your background a little bit of, I would call it bootstrapping, right? Pulling yourself up, and how you got into the world of being excited about law and going down that road. It's an arduous task. And how did that come about for you?
Sure. Well, that is true, Darcey. I didn't grow up in a silver spoon in a family of lawyers. I grew up in a blue-collar family. I was raised by a single mom. And in my family, most of the men worked either as truck drivers or in the construction field. And most of the women were waitresses. So I was the first person in my immediate family to go to college. And I initially thought I might be a teacher. I thought I might be a writer. I thought I might do a number of things. And in high school, something changed my life. I joined a mock trial team.
Oh, yeah.
And, when you're a teenager, you get this fictional case and you're really excited. And then you get to dress up, in a suit. You get to go down to the actual courthouse, on a Saturday. And you get to pretend to be an attorney. And it was so much fun. I absolutely loved it. And there was an attorney who was our mentor or our coach. And I worked with him for 3 years. And when I graduated high school, between the time that I graduated high school and was starting college, he came to me and he said, "Do you want a job?" And I said, "Doing what?" He says, "I don't know, come down to law firm, we'll figure it out." So I started out as a law clerk, I started out as a file clerk rather. So I was opening the mail, I was giving people coffee, I was running back and forth to the courthouse, I was making copies. I was doing all those sort of, miscellaneous tasks that you have in a law firm. And so that's where I started. I started at 17 years old, working at this large firm and interacting with a lot of different attorneys who did a lot of different fields of law. And that's where I began. And from there, they said, "Do you want to become a certified paralegal?" So I did. I took night classes while I was going to college and I got my certification. So did that for a number of years and then decided, I think I'm going to go to law school. So then became a law clerk from there. And I've been licensed now since 2009.
Excellent. And I know you serve your community in different capacities. What, like you said, boards. What kind of boards are you on and who are you serving? I do want to say this one thing. I do know your story about your very first office was a janitor's closet.
Oh.
I think it's fun. You know what? Humble beginnings, people. That's what.
That is a fun story. So when I started at 17 working at this law firm, I showed up my very first day, right? And I'm terrified. I've never worked in an office like this before. And so I show up and the attorney that I had worked with for years was gone. He was at court. And so I walk in and I introduce myself to the staff and they said, oh, we know that he hired you, but we don't know where we're going to put you. So they said, let's walk around the office and see if we can find a spot. So we wander down all the different hallways, and finally they open a door, and they turn the light on, and of course the light bars bzz, 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 are half burned out.
Of course.
And it is the storage closet. So there are boxes stacked up, there's gutted copy machines, a broken printer, and in the very back, after you weave your way through all this debris, there is a desk that is broken, it's lopsided. We had to put books under it, and a chair that was missing 2 wheels.
Oh,
and the walls were covered in brown carpet.
So soundproof, nice.
It was soundproof, and that was my very first office in my legal career, and that's where I started.
That is, you know what? What I love about that is that people do judge themselves when they're starting a business, and they're like, oh, I got to have this beautiful space, or I'm nothing. No, it's okay to have, if you can only afford in your business the closet. I've had a closet. I've had the closet office. If you can do that, just do that and do it well, and you'll get out. Right? You got out of the you got out of the brown carpeted closet. I love it. That's funny. Soundproof for your screams. Filing. Excellent. I know you have some goals you want to hit this year.
Absolutely.
And you're running for office.
I am.
I want to talk about that because a lot of business owners are like, I can't do that. It's going to take too much time. But talk about what was your catalyst to come to that decision and what you're doing.
Sure. Well, you talked about sort of my community service and the different things that I do. So among other things, I'm president of the Hillsboro Schools Foundation. I've been on the board of that organization since 2015. I'm also on the Hillsboro 2035 Planning Committee. And I just finished a term this year on the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. So public service and volunteer work is just part of who I am. It's part of what I do.
Right.
And over the past 2 years, you know, with so many things happening with the pandemic and hearing so many stories about families who are struggling, small businesses who are struggling, kids who were sent home for distance learning who didn't have computers or didn't have internet.
Right.
Whose parents had to drive them to a McDonald's and they sat in the back seat trying to log on to a Wi-Fi signal, or those who even were sent home without food because their breakfast and lunch is served at school. And when the school shut down, they didn't have access to just eating 2 meals a day. So, hearing those stories, just based on my upbringing, really resonated with me because I've been there. You know, I've been hungry. I've been in a family where there's just not enough to go around, where you're having to move every couple of years because the rent on your apartment goes up.
Yep, absolutely.
And when your transmission goes out on your car, it's not an inconvenience. It's a catastrophe because you literally do not have the $1,500 to replace that transmission.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and I remember being a kid, you know, and my little brother and I, we were little. You know, our mom was working as hard as she could, and there were times when we just didn't have enough, and she would pretend like she wasn't hungry, just so that my brother and I could have a little more. So when I hear these stories about what so many families in our community are going through, it hit really close to home. And it got me thinking, what can I do? I want to do more. You know, I want to see what I can do on a larger scale to help these folks, to help these families, to help these small businesses, and to try to make sure that everybody has a chance.
Absolutely. And what are you running for?
Yes, so I am running for the Oregon House of Representatives, District 30, which is the eastern half of Hillsboro.
Excellent. So we're in a very lucrative area with an Intel literally next door to me. However, with that said, you're absolutely correct in that there's a delineal line, I would say, in Hillsboro, where on one side of that line is people who are doing okay. And on the other side of that line, there are kids that are are hungry, that don't have the resources, they don't have the internet, their parents are serving. I mean, they're working, but they're serving this side of the line. And so having someone in there in Hillsboro to equalize that is phenomenal. So thank you for your service to those kids. I know about those kids. I know about those families. They need to have representation. That's not one of them. One of the people, that has it all together. But you came from that and you can recognize that. How can we help you? What's the best thing we can do to help you get that seat?
Sure. Well, thank you. So I think there are two things. One, of course, is to sign up with the campaign to become a volunteer later on. Obviously, there are opportunities as the campaign progresses to make phone calls, to knock on doors, to reach out to folks in the community. So that's something that you can do on my website at nathansosa.com.
Excellent.
So that's one way. And of course, another way is to donate to the campaign as well, which you can also do on the website.
Excellent. What are so looking back over your career, and what are some things that you're like, man, I really wish I would have implemented this earlier, or I didn't really need to do this? It's one thing that we always ask is, what would you do better, different, looking back now?
I would have networked more effectively early on in my career. When I first started out, I was nervous. I would go to events and I would stand in the back and I would be nervous to talk to anybody. I didn't know what to say. I didn't grow up in those kind of environments, so it was intimidating to go up and just to talk to somebody. And I realized the more that I advanced my career, we're all just people.
Right.
And we all have stories. And we all have something that motivated us to do what we do, and something that inspires us every day to get up and go to work. And so finding what that story is and talking to people and asking about their why is something that I love to do, and something that I wish I had known earlier.
Every single one of these podcasts, networking. That answer, pretty much 99% of the time. So if you don't have it together yet, that you should probably be networking, here's your cue. Here's your clue. Here's the sign, right? And do you have any, I know you have political goals, but do you have any career goals for the next couple years that you're working on to attain, or is there some next level that you're looking at in the future?
Well, I'm always looking to help more people. That's just the nature of my job, is helping folks in the community. So always happy to do that. Always looking to grow the practice, looking to reach out and reach more people, help more people, and ensure that more people's rights are being protected. Our firm is growing. We have two locations. We have one in Gresham, which is our main office there, and we have another office here in Hillsboro, which we just upgraded to a larger suite. So we're looking to grow. We're looking to bring on another attorney, more staff. So I think that's something that we're going to be looking at in the future. In the near future, of course, hiring more folks, expanding our practice areas, and then also eventually buying a property here in Hillsboro. That will be our permanent office out here.
That's wonderful. So, Nathan Sosa, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're an inspiration to me, and I do treasure you. So thank you for coming today.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So the other night I'm at home and I hadn't eaten all day. I want to go out to dinner. We go down to a restaurant, we sit down. I get a call from one of our former clients. She has a customer at her place of business who's an obvious domestic violence victim, and she's come out of the life. So we were able to interrupt our dinner, run down, and help provide resources for this young woman. We provide resources such as connections to domestic violence resources, connections to housing, mentors, just safety. That's your donations at work. If you'd like to donate, go to www.xposehope.com/donate. That's XPOSCHOPE.com/donate. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Talking Business, brought to you by Xpose Hope. We can be found on all of your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, iTunes, all of them. Also, be sure to like us, share us, and leave a comment. Who do you want to hear from? We want to know.